welcome back to another episode of Spectator Mode. I'm the co-host Neil Strebig. With me, as always, is Donald Double D DeCray. So we got a couple of doozies today, but no, today's topics we got a little bit of World of Warcraft news. Pretty excited actually about that. It's about 2 decades in the making as far as the news that broke on that. The Batman trailer, the one with Robert Patterson, a new scene came out. It's actually straight from the movie. Definitely a little bit different take from what we've seen so far. Paramount Plus released the Halo trailer during championship weekend in NFL. I think it was during the NFC championship game, Rams and 49ers. Another mega merger, another acquisition there. Sony purchased Bungie, who actually was a developer that helped launch Halo with Microsoft back in 2001. And then, of course, your favorite topic, NFTs. Ubisoft, one of their executives, is a big fan of it, and their plans to incorporate NFTs in their games in the future. And then some DC Comics news. Basically, the Justice League as dinosaurs. So we'll get to that in a second.
Yes, we will. I really look forward to that conversation.
But no, World of Warcraft finally announced after 18 years that Horde players will be able to play with everybody else. The two rival fractions will actually not be able to compete. Exceptions, of course, are certain guild missions, and I believe random play as well. Random missions will still be kind of sectioned off, but you can actually do raids now with Horde players, which, 18 years for anything, I think, is a long time overdue because that was a long time fan complaint. I know you still play, so you got to have a lot hotter take than I do.
Well, I'll be honest, I haven't played as recently. I have played in the past year. And I think the main thing is that like World of Warcraft has done this like kind of silly circle with its narrative in terms of even the original Warcraft 3 games were about how they're better together. Diversity is helpful and they're not so different. They look different on the outside, the green scary orcs and the polish of the alliance. And then you realize that orcs have a society. They're all about honor and stuff like that. And, humans can do atrocities as well. And, good and evil, both sides getting along. And that was the message from Warcraft 3. And then you get to World of Warcraft and it plays through the first, the Warcraft RTS games and stuff. And then you get into the future expansions and it does this like weird cycle of we hate each other. We've struck a peace or an amnesty. We hate each other. We struck a peace. And it's like really like you've been sending the message for years now that like we should be getting along. And it would be nice for them to take the story hopefully in a new way. For me, that's the biggest thing is can they take the story in a new way now where I know it's called the World of Warcraft, but like maybe they could just be at war with something besides each other, right? Like could they introduce a new faction of NPCs or something that they could target and fight against and stuff like that and go in a different direction. So, it feels like you said, it's 2 decades coming. This is what I feel like the message has been for the existence of the franchise almost.
Yeah, I played limited amount on it. As you know, we've talked about that in previous episodes, my experience as a toxic WoW player. But I thought it was rough then because at the time, one of our mutual friends, Matt, was playing and got me involved, and he played Alliance. All his buddies played Alliance.
Yeah.
And I thought the Horde characters looked cooler and would have been more in line with my kind of play style. But nobody was playing that. So I was like, well, I'm going to be isolated in gaming. If I'm paying money to play this game, why would I do that? It was kind of the same reason why I switched back to, 360 and then to Sony and all that. And we'll kind of get to those topics in a bit too. But you want to play with other people. So it's just, it's way overdue. And it's like, why not? You know what I mean? And especially for raids, I think we'll add a new dimension. And to your point, I'm sure we'll add hopefully another layer of content for them too if there's a new enemy.
Yeah, I'd love for them to not make this just a quality of life change. I'd love for this to influence the story. But end of the day, like there are issues in current World of Warcraft in terms of the faction divide. Servers are lopsided, like massively lopsided. So it's not just about choosing which faction you want to be. It's also choosing a server where your faction is active. Horde tends to outnumber Alliance on most servers a lot. So if you wanted to be an Alliance character, you got to find an Alliance-oriented server. That limits your options and everything else. And like, it just creates a bunch of issues that prevent you from just playing the game, to your point, the way you want to. You know what I mean? If you want to be a Horde character, you want to be an Alliance character, like you can't just do that. You can't just make a character on whatever server and jump in and play. You have to put in all this research to make sure that you're going to be on a server that's going to have guilds and groups doing the content you want to do at the level you want to do it with enough people that you can put, groups together consistently, it turns into a whole huge mess that it doesn't need to be. So all around, it's going to be a nice quality of life change, and I have hope for the future of the story as well.
Speaking of a huge mess and quality of life,
that's the transition, huh?
Yeah. The new Batman movie coming out later this year, Robert Pattinson as Batman, which we're not getting into casting and all that, withhold your judgment and your hate, but released a new trailer, an actual about 3-4 minute scene from a funeral scene in the movie. We don't actually see the Batman. We see Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne entering into a funeral, and basically sets up a very morbid tone. And I would definitely dare to say from that small clip, and we've heard already that this Batman is more of a horror film than anything else in suspense. It's definitely an eerie, suspenseful clip. I mean, what do you think? What's your take?
Oh yeah, I mean, even you can tell by the color palette that they've chosen for this. It's very gray and kind of like washed out. It's definitely those darker tones, and it works the scene seems to work to create suspense and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, I think Batman's one of the few superheroes. Is there really a bad Batman movie? Like, even I mean, Ben Affleck's stint as Batman, did he have any solo movies? I'm trying to remember.
No, it was Batman vs Superman and then
right. So he was
Justice
only
League.
with other things. I think literally all the solo Batman movies have found success. And some of them, like, you look back to the early areas, Michael Keaton and stuff like that, like some of it was like the kitsch and the corniness, you know what I mean? And even way back with West playing Batman on the TV series and stuff was just super like corny and stuff. But at the same time, like, those are all viewed in positive lights now, maybe a little bit with nostalgia, but I don't know that there's been a bad Batman movie ever where it was like just the Batman. I've only seen like issues and mashups.
That's honestly what Robert Pattinson said. There's never been a bad Batman movie, which they've all kind of did their jobs. I mean, to the corny point with Batman and Robin, with George Clooney and Schwarzenegger and all that. Yeah, it doesn't stand the test of time per se, but it was directed towards kids and it was a fun ride. I mean, it really was. I mean, I loved that movie as a kid, and still, I mean, Batman Forever, Val Kilmer's Batman, way underrated in my book. I still think Jim Carrey kills it. I think Tommy Lee Jones kills it as Two-Face. It's just, again, it was in an era of movies that were a bit over the top, and it comes off campier than it is. Getting off the topic with the trailer. What I liked about this was it definitely did set up more of that darker and the grit, which I'm personally excited about with this Batman. We haven't really seen him. Yes, it seems like a bit of a year one spoof with Batman coming into his own, dealing with his own, sociopathic ways of basically how he internalized his trauma and basically building this caricature to deal with his trauma. I think we're going to see a lot more of that, which is exciting. And then again, we're going to see that grittiness of Gotham, which we saw a bit in the TV show, but he's all homicidal maniacs. Like, no one is safe. That's why Batman feels the need to be there, because there's going to be orphans there just like himself if someone's not there presently to take care of these maniacs.
Well, I wanted to ask, and I don't know if you know this, is this incarnation of Batman a billionaire or a millionaire? Any ideas?
I'd imagine a billionaire. I mean, I'd imagine go with the times. I'm not sure.
Well, it's interesting because somewhere online, I want to say Reddit, somebody made the point essentially that, like, if Batman's a billionaire, you can do so much with billionaire dollars that, like, there's more he could do for the world than be the Batman. If he's a millionaire, it makes a lot more sense. That's enough money to, like, play around and afford the gadgets and everything else he does. But, like, not enough to, like, buy literal countries. Like, when you're in billions of dollars, like, you're to that point, you can literally just buy some countries. You have more than their national GDP and stuff like that. Like, it's a different ball game, and it kind of brings to question whether or not being the Batman is the best way. And I thought it was interesting, the beginning of this scene, there's a question about his philanthropy and his family's history of philanthropy and giving and stuff like that. So I'll be interested to see their take on the financial situation of Batman, because being a billionaire but then not spending that money to the benefit of the society, I think is maybe a small criticism I might have if that's the case. Because, like, at least in Tony Stark's case, he has money, but then he invests all of that into developing tech and selling it, and, like, he's spending it on what he's doing. So yeah, he's Iron Man, but at the same time, he's, like, producing other products and things for protection for people, for the world.
Yeah, but they've talked about the Nolan trilogy with Thomas Wayne giving back, building the they're going around everything else, and that
Yeah.
kind of dilemma too of, how do you use all this money? But I mean, just from a theatrical standpoint, entertainment standpoint, watching a billionaire crush problems with his wallet versus him punching enemies in the face, I'm going to take the latter
I
personally.
mean, yes, but for me, it's like if you want to go with this gritty realism, then like I want it to feel real, and you know what I mean. Like there should be a good reason for him to be the Batman, and not just you said like drop his fucking wallet on it and crush it. You know, like there's other options available to somebody of that stature. So either way, I like the trailer. I'm sorry, it wasn't a trailer; it was a scene. It was the funeral scene. I liked it. I like the look of it. I like the energy. I look forward to it coming out, and I want to see it. On the flip side, not so excited for topic number 3 here. Halo trailer dropped, releasing on Paramount Plus. Halo is a beloved franchise, especially for Xbox fans. Released Master Chief Collection not too long ago on PC. They also came out with Halo Infinite, so the series has been continuing. The franchise has been continuing, but the trailer that's been released has some issues. Savvy fans have noticed already that there's like Chevy Tahoes chilling around in, the far-flung future as they're fighting these things out. Like, I don't know if that was like they didn't think people would notice the cars, or if they didn't get a chance to edit them out digitally, or I don't know. But that's the kind of stuff that like definitely causes concern for fans in terms of how they're going to handle the source material. What do you think?
I mean, again, I'm not a big Halo guy. I
Ugh,
haven't like followed the series. I'm not like a diehard fan, so I don't really have a horse in this race because I'm not super committed to the series itself. Two, we live in a day and age too where people freeze frame every goddamn trailer nowadays to find stuff like this, and basically it's how they get YouTube channels and their success and whatnot as well. So I think that takes with a grain of salt. I also think fans maybe oversold themselves on how cool Halo is in the sense of a live action, because let's be honest, it's kind of cheesy and campy in the game. It would also be cheesy and campy in a live action.
I don't
It's a
actually
dude in
disagree.
a suit with laser guns.
Yeah. I know. I actually don't disagree because, like, I think there's a bad trend with adaptations of different franchises to target the original audience, which is typically, I think, a mistake, right?
Mhm.
Because, like, Halo itself released, I forget how long ago now, but, a while ago. I was solidly a child when it came out for the first game and stuff like that. And, like, I'm in my 30s. What I liked as a child, what I like now are two very different things. And taking something that was aimed at children and trying to, in some ways, age it up to go to those same fans of the series or the franchise and appeal to them with the live action adaptation, I don't know how well you can do it. Because you're right. Like, Halo has some of that, like, campiness and, like, over the top action and like, the crazy physics and things flying around and stuff like that. Like, that's part of what makes the franchise, I think, great. I don't know that that translates well to the big screen when you're trying to
Yeah.
go for the sense of realism and immersion and targeting a much older audience than what the
Yeah.
games were targeting.
I've heard the Halo series has done a great job with story and everything else, but again, it's a super soldier in space fighting enemy race. It's a sci-fi trope. It's nothing crazy we haven't seen before. So, if I watch the series, I might find a new love and appreciation for Halo because I'm not invested in be kind of seeing the story unravel. So maybe I get to see what so many fans, enjoy about it, especially when Halo Reach kind of pushed the story and those boundaries. But again, super soldier in space fighting aliens. I don't know why fans thought they're going to see something that was going to blow them away like Oscar worthy stuff. I don't know. Maybe
I
that's
don't
just
know.
me
Well, I
being
think
cynic.
people
I
were
don't know.
were hoping for something more along the lines of like I'm thinking of like the Expanse or something like that, and this is very much more in the vein of Starship Troopers, is what it seems like from the trailer at least.
It's a great
And
movie. It's a cult classic.
I mean, but Starship Troopers, I think, demonstrates the same issue in terms of the movie itself. I think comes off as very campy and stuff like that. Don't know why I
All I'm
censored
saying is that
myself, but
I think Rico would beat Master Chief straight up. I'm going to
damn,
say
I can't
that,
believe you're
and
gonna go for
I'll
that.
go to the grave with that too.
Wow, wow. But like things that
Rico.
worked in the book didn't translate well to the movie, like the news bulletins blaring. You know what I mean? In the book, you just have these news bulletins about the wars going this way, and then you have the random in the movie, the random interrupts. It doesn't translate as well. Like the medium doesn't carry it as well. So I don't know. It's again, that's that concern of you're taking source material that people feel very strongly about, and they're going to be grumpy about it either way, right? Like they're going to want it the way
Yeah.
that they want it. Because this is one of the conversations I think we've had, and I know I've had with other people, essentially of like some things you will appreciate more if you don't have a sense of the source material, because you're not coming with preconceived notions of how things
Yeah,
ought to be or should be in your head, and like
100%.
hopefully you'll see this and like it. Fingers crossed.
I mean, this was a big week for Halo though in general.
Yeah.
Original makers of Halo, Bungie, was acquired by Sony earlier this week. I believe it was estimated at 3.6 billion.
Yep.
Another big gaming merger, and we talked about Activision, Blizzard being purchased by Microsoft. What was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yep. I think
Or
it
just
was.
last week. So all time blurs to me anymore. So I mean, pretty big merger. Sony is already number two as far as video game companies. So it's definitely going to keep them in the number two spot, potentially putting them over. But a lot of intricate things with this deal to get to in a second. But what's your first kind of reactions?
I mean, I hope this means Sony plays nice now with PC and everyone else. Crossplay has been the trend of the industry. And like granted, Microsoft with Xbox and Microsoft Windows has more of a reason and incentive to let their consoles play nice with PCs than Sony has. But Sony so far has been the kid who like just takes their toys and runs off whenever anyone tries to come play with them, right? Like they don't want to allow crossplay a lot of times. It's been an issue with PlayStation titles. And I think that's been to their detriment. So I'm hoping this move to acquire Bungie and the way Destiny is a multi-platform game is a sign of things to come in terms of they're now going to be releasing games on all platforms, crossplay available, which I think is great for improving matchmaking. There's another debate to be had in terms of keyboard, mouse versus controllers, but there's not really a reason that I can see why people playing on PlayStation shouldn't be able to play against people playing on an Xbox regardless, right? Like Sony owns the title, they're going to make their money, and it's healthy for the matchmaking and stuff to have a larger player pool. So good things in my opinion.
No, I'm with you with this. Sony's big thing. They definitely were two interesting things because some some articles and content I read, analysts said they paid too much for this, but portion of that was they basically overpaid for Bungie, and one also too Bungie launched Halo with Microsoft 2001, then they split from Microsoft 2007. So Destiny 2 is kind of their big one right now that they're still putting out there. But Sony wanted to have more influence on PC, which I know is going to make you happy.
Yeah.
But the point to overpaying for this, they want to keep all Bungie staff on. Throwing incentives in there for the staff to stay. So that's why that's a bit more overpriced than what analysts thought that they should have paid for Bungie, which again, we've talked about Activision Blizzard. And again, just regular kind of workplace conditions.
There you go.
Improving and actually keeping a staff on there and being happy. I think that's a good sign. And I think, again, shows Sony the value that they have of, hey, we want to make an actual commitment to this. And if we're going to actually launch into PC and bring in, those fan bases around, we need to do it the right way.
Yeah. And I think Bungie has a well-earned positive reputation right now. When they were directing Halo and everything, they did very well with all of that. Destiny was very much meant to be the multiplayer raid version of Halo. Like it was very much in the spirit of Halo, brought to a new platform and a new generation. And I think they've largely succeeded in doing that. The game itself, I've played it before and enjoyed it quite a bit. So it's one of those things like I like Bungie. I like the work they do. I'm glad they're keeping the staff on. And I look forward to the things that Sony's going to be able to do with them. Although we are moving further and further, or closer and closer, I should say, to the mega monopoly of the entertainment industry that I have lamented about in the past.
Yes, yeah. There was another merger too this week. Take-Two purchased
Zynga.
For 12.7 billion. And Take-Two is already done, I think, number 10 video game company already, which is pretty big. And if we go back, Bethesda getting bought by Microsoft 2020, that was $5.7 billion deal. EA bought Codemasters, UK racing game company, which makes Grid series I love absolutely amazing, and also the Formula One franchise, which is a phenomenal racing game as well. So we're seeing a lot more, to your point, consolidation, and it's definitely not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see how that goes and what effects that might have on the industry in the long run. And and for me, it's concerning because you get people like our next story, Ubisoft's executive is defending NFTs again, saying players, quote, just don't get it. I think I'll read the exact quote. He's like, it's really for them. It's really beneficial, but they don't get it for now. So he's really convinced that NFT is coming to gaming and the way that he's imagining it's going to be implemented in gaming is going to be a positive thing. I don't see that. I have yet to see like uh anyone outside the industry think that this is going to be a good move for the industry. Like literally the only people I see talking about NFTs in games positively are the people who stand to make money off of whatever that would look like essentially. So I don't know, man. I can't feel like I can get behind this change. I'm afraid that we're going to see more of this shit. And this idea
Yeah.
that like, oh, players don't really know what they want.
Yeah, well, that whole rhetoric of like, you're making games for consumer base, but you're gonna sit there and act like they don't know what they want. That's a bit of ignorance in itself. But the article you shared with me, reading through it, there's two things that jumped out to me. One, staffers basically being like, "Hey, this is a bad idea," not feeling confident with it. That's never a good sign if majority of
Mm-hmm.
your staff and the ones making the games are like, "We probably shouldn't do this." You probably should listen a bit. That doesn't always happen in corporate companies, but is what it is. The other bit too of what he alluded to, and I think his perception with gaming is basically of how it would interact. It seemed like if you need an item in a game and could use it, then you could sell it to another player. And it seemed like he was kind of hinting at that. To me, that threw a red flag up because say we're playing the same game, say this is Assassin's Creed, right? And I want an epic weapon or legendary weapon. You get to the game first, you've had it for a couple of months before me, you beat the game, you have it. What's stopping you from charging me $700 for that item and say it was
Nothing.
only X amount in the game?
Nothing. Yeah, and
Exactly.
if they do limited releases of items, for example, they'll become collectibles. Early adopters will get them and stuff like that. It introduces pay to win in literally any game in the sense
Yeah.
of somebody would have had to have collected the item beforehand to be able to get it to you, but like you and I come to a game at the same time and are therefore competing against each other for rank or position or what have you. If you're willing to throw money into it to buy items off of an existing player and I'm not, that's immediately going to give you an advantage that I don't have. And then I just don't think, like, end of the day, right? Like the real goal behind this from a business perspective is they're going to get a cut of every transaction. So like
Yeah.
there's some idea that's being sold in terms of like, hey, you play this game, you collect these NFTs, and then you can sell them so you can actually make money off of your gaming and your playing and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But like I would be very surprised to see this become actually successful in the sense that like people could earn money playing games rather than it turning into a money pick. Because no matter what you do, you're paying for the game, they're getting a cut of transactions. Like there's money getting siphoned off to the corporation. They're not doing this for the best of for the consumer's benefit. They're doing it for their own.
Yeah.
I don't know how that math works out that someone's going to be able to actually turn a profit for the hours that they're going to invest into the game.
No, I'm with you. And it's definitely a topic I think you brought up plenty of times. We need to do a separate episode of NFTs and gaming.
I feel like, yeah,
But do
we've
you,
talked about it too much now.
yeah, no, absolutely. No, it sucks the fun out of it. And I mean, speaking of sucking the fun out of stuff, though, DC unveiled a new Justice League variant, so to speak, a mini series, I believe 6 comics called Jurassic League, turning favorite Justice League heroes, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, The Flash, even the Joker, into bloody dinosaurs.
Oh my god. I don't know why
Yeah.
you're saying sucking the fun out of it though, because this looks like it's going to be it better be a fucking trippy blast. Like that's what I'm hoping it'll be. Because if you look at the pictures and stuff from the scenes, like Brontosaurus head Batman, are you kidding me? I could fucking die. They didn't even make an
Yeah.
attempt to make him look like a badass. They literally just threw like the fucking Brontosaurus head on there. He looks like a uncut penis essentially, just chilling up there. That's what his head looks like.
Listen, the only reason I'm upset about this, and the artist did say like they had a premise with it and kind of got liberty to roll with it, which was cool. And I'm never gonna knock an artist for being able to express themselves and take a small idea and then get a chance to do even a mini series like this. My only thing for this was, if I was a 7-year-old me and right around the time the Justice League's about to die, this is the Justice League I get. Fuck that. No
Oh
way, Jose.
damn, that's right. We talked
That's my
about
only
last
beef with
time. Death
that
of the
was
Justice
that the
League is
Justice League
coming.
gonna be dying soon, and you got this fucking 1990s Saturday morning cartoon fucking dinosaur patrol shit. I don't like it.
Oh my god,
I know I
it
combined like
looks
five
like it
different
ought to
things
be
between
so.
sharks, dinosaurs, and Paw Patrol, but
I think you just hate furries. I'm pretty sure you and our other friend
no,
Evan just have a
listen,
thing
I live in
against.
Pittsburgh, man. The fur convention, Athrocons there every year, man. It's crazy. Now, granted, they scared the shit out of me for 3 years because I'd go for a run and then see somebody with a tail or a fucking furry helmet out of the blue, and that was always
But it
frightening
grew
because I
on
wasn't ready
you.
for it. So they're cool. I'm never gonna knock some. I think there's something. I'm gonna get heat for this. People
Oh
think I'm
boy,
like a
go for
furry
it.
myself. No, I think the epitome of romanticism is like furry culture because like you have these people that are introverts and don't feel comfortable in their own skin, but then they put on a silly costume and it's a whole different personality and they're extroverts and like it's crazy to me. It's absolutely mind-boggling. If you talk to some of these folks like without the costume, they kind of like stumble over their own tongue and like are super nervous and anxious individuals. And then they're just the most confident people behind this man. Like that's that's life. That's beauty of life romanticism. Like it's amazing to me. Like it really is. I think it's a really cool thing that they can put a mask on and be this empowered and be somewhat of their true selves and get those good qualities out of them, even though it may be a very odd way to do it. I think it's a cool thing. And if you've been to Anthrocon, it's basically just like a Comic Con. There's video game tournaments nonstop, silliness, anime, whatever. It's pretty chill. It's really nothing too crazy. And there's no anybody going to sit there and give you a hard time. It's very accepting, like most Comic Cons and nerd conventions are in general. It's like, hey, you're kind of a weirdo. So am I. Let's get down. You know?
I mean, I will definitely. I've never been. I definitely give the community credit for the vibes they put out. Seem very welcoming, very understanding of people all around. Like everyone can stand to learn from that. Um, I don't know if this necessarily counts per se because these are all reptiles. Um, I hope that this will be a fun romp through the Jurassic ages, and that they don't take themselves too seriously when they do this run. Um, but I guess we'll see how the Justice League fares as dinosaurs. Brontosaurus had Superman. Triceratops
Yeah.
had Wonder Woman.
It's definitely one comic series I am not going to buy and or ever collect.
I honestly might end up putting up a poster somewhere because Batman at least looks like a bona fide badass. But I don't know. With those misgivings aside, I think that's going to be it for us this week. At Spectator Mode, I hope everyone enjoyed the quick rundown that we gave on different things and enjoyed our takes. If you didn't, let us know. If you did, still let us know. Positive feedback is always appreciated. Constructive feedback is more appreciated, perhaps. And as always, have fun gaming with whatever you guys do, and catch you next week.